Hey everybody, just wanted to go over the lab questions with you for Lab 2 and Lab 3. So let's go over them together a little bit. The first part I want to talk about is question 5 and beyond on Lab 2. It asks you to do plus equals to variables, plus plus, see if there's, see what happens when you start typing stuff in. So on Lab 2, on question 5, it says create two integer variables and call them start and time. And I will do that right now. Okay. It says set them equal to 37 and 32. You can do that this way. There's a little shortcut there where you do it on the same line as you make the variable. And it says make one other variable called end and let it equal. Now, end is actually a bad word in C++. Notice how that's green. That means, so maybe I'll just change that. End should be fine though. End is a C++ word in some libraries, and that's why it's green. So it's not a great name for a variable, but it should be fine for us, hopefully. So I'm going to write in there that I'm going to let end equal start plus time. And then it says output it and see what happens. So I'm going to output end like that, and I'll put ENTL to make sure that I'm just getting a new line after I output it. And it writes the number 59 on the screen, which is what 37 plus 22 is, right? Okay. Awesome. Output start plus 5. Now it wants us to set a total variable to start plus 5. So I'm going to make a total variable, int total, and I'm going to let it equal start plus 5 like that. Okay. And it wants me to output it. So I will just use my cout command to output it, run it like that. I still have C++ open here, so I'll make sure that I don't do that. There we go. It outputs 42, which is what we thought it would probably do. Start is 37. If I add 5 to it, it'll give me 42. Okay. Good. Okay. I'm just going to delete this stuff for now. Excuse me. Okay. Int total equals start plus 5, like that. Okay, so I have this new total variable. And the next thing it says is, what does the line total equals total plus 5 do? Well, let me output total here first. Okay, so I don't really know what it does. If I run this program, right now it's outputting 42 on the screen, which is makes sense. It's going to be the start variable, 37 plus 5. Okay, if I write this line of code, how am I going to tell what it did if it does anything to total? The way I'm going to tell is just by spitting it out to the screen and seeing what happened to it. I'm guessing it's going to take the value that it had, 42, and it's going to add 5 to it and spit out 47. And it does. So it looks like you can take a line like this and make something increase by 5 if you want. Okay. The next line it wants you to try is, what does total plus equals 5 do? Well, to see what it does, I'm just going to spit it out to the screen like this. Oops. And see what happens. So I was at 42, then 47, and now I'm at 52. So this line of code right here must be a little shortcut that says take whatever variable you have and make it go up by 5. Okay. The next line of code wants you to write total equals total plus time. Now, time was 22, and my total now was at 52, right? If I've increased it by 10, 57, sorry, 47, right? Makes sense? Yeah. I can't remember. Let's check it out, though. think we added 15 to 37, so we ended up with 52, right? So I'm going to output total. If I was at 52 before I wrote this line of code, it should add 22 to it, so give me 74. 74, yep. And then it says, is there a similar shortcut to like, you know how I take total and I add 5 to my total like this? This is just a little shortcut way of doing it, a quicker way to code it. So could I theoretically make this line of code a little shorter and a little more concise? Yes, I could just say total plus equals time like that. And that would do the same thing. Okay. Next little thing, it says, what does total plus plus do? So I'm going to see out it once I have it written down. And let's see what happens. It was 74, and then it spit out 75. So plus plus must just add 1 to the number. And that's the joke of how C++ got its name, because it's based on the C programming language, right? And the guy who made it, and this line of code would work in C as well. The guy who made it said, "Oh, my language is going to be one better than C." And so it's a kind of like an insider programming joke. He calls it his language C++, meaning it's a little bit better than C. But a lot of people still code in C today, and there's an argument to be made that it's simpler and less involved and even more powerful than C++. Okay. A lot of the coding I did, this is all C coding, but it works in C++. C++ has more advanced features that we'll use later on in grade 11. What does total minus minus do? Well, I would have to guess that it would take 1 away from total if I were a betting person. I got a new keyboard, so I keep messing up where all the buttons are. It feels weird. Okay, it did take 1 away from it. It was 75, and now it's 74. Okay. Then it wants to know what happens if you go total minus equals start, like that. Okay. And you can see out that. And you will see that it will take 37 away from your answer and give you 37 back because you were at 74. Okay. Question 15 says, C++ has a command called Sizeof, which returns the size of your variable in bytes. Output the size, so you could write the word Sizeof. So if we were in class, this would be just a lot easier for me to go around and help you and show you guys all. I know this is like, there's some abstract ideas in here, and it really is hard to learn coding on your own without someone helping you along the way. C++ has a command called Sizeof, and then you put in the name of the variable. So I'll just take any of my variables. I could put start, I could put time, I could put total. Those are the 3 variables I made. And it will output the size of an integer in bytes. Meaning, okay, so an integer is 4 bytes on your computer. It's in the memory of your computer. It's 4 bytes of RAM. Okay, so when you have, let's say 8 gigabytes of RAM, so that's 8 with 9 zeros after it. Okay, when you buy a computer, it will be able to theoretically, now my integer is taking up 4 of these 8 billion. So if I divide this by 4, I could theoretically hold up to 2 billion integers in the memory of my computer at any given time. Okay, would I ever need to do that? Probably not. But I mean, if you're using, like, let's say you're using Adobe Photoshop or one of these video editors or something, what you're storing in memory is like every color of every pixel and all kinds of like settings that you have that you're working with. And maybe you have another game open and it's saving it's a game that you're playing in the background and it's saving all kinds of information about everything. A lot of that stuff gets saved not on your hard drive, right? A hard drive is meant for all the files that your program, that builds your program, and also like saved data, that like your saved files and stuff. RAM, memory is what gets used while your program is open to like, store information. When I make a variable in C++, it's storing it in their memory. So I could store 2 billion integers into the memory of my computer if I want. And yeah, there you go. Here's another question that says cout start divided by time, like that. And that's going to try to output 37 divided by 22, right? Which is some sort of decimal, less than 2, greater than 1. If I output this, though, let me just close that window. It outputs the number 1. Reason is, remember, it chops off all the decimals if you're dealing with integers and you divide. It doesn't care about decimals. So it goes 37. How many times does 22 go in? Once. That's it. Okay. And then it wanted you to look at as well, like if you take any number and hit percent and then another number, that actually gives you the remainder of when you divide. So if I write 7% 3, I'm actually getting the number 1 back because the 3 goes into 7 twice with 1 left over. They don't really teach remainder a lot in schools anymore. But if I go 14% 8, how many times does 8 go into 14? It goes in once with 6 left over. So that will give me a 6. It seems like kind of a goofy little math function, remainder. You never use it in school. But it actually could be really useful in coding, especially when you get to graphics and you're running something 60 frames per second and you want to pick out certain frames to do stuff, then this is a really useful feature. Okay, so that's how you do Lab 2. So I'll post that. Check it out. Thanks.